Alright, let's get this intro out of the way. Thank you for being a member, Nenshifu, Maya, Frogcat Dog, Zephyr, Streets, Static Gray, Strong, Tall, Handsome, Muscular, Raw, Dominant Man, Kikiri, Muhammad Hadir, Mahizitsdomo, Ryobi, Wiener Delivery, Strikes, NZ Data, Joshua, YB, Banix, Wani, Josh R, Macro, Stephen Johnson, Bunny GF, Warren, Alex Moore, Hobby, Barry, Trash, Trixic, Kevin, Silica, Fabian, Care, Ramen, Levi, Dylan, Y, AOC, Park, Elasia, Fetus, Sufficient, Nathan, B, Doorjam, Floki, Xenar, Namey King, Fernando, Luke, Kyle, Jay, Zivu, Zeku Donatello, 6, Restless, Unknown, Chichikun, Jerem, KCCO, Umbra, James, Illicus, Bronworm, Asp, Elsplix, Noble, Chili, Chaos, Sildel, Trapper Keeper, Tithys, CFE, Oaxis, Derek, Titus, Kit, Big, Archie, Nate. Thank you for being a member. Also, the Discord and community is doing a build battle thing. Anyone can join, anyone can submit a build. We've already started scoring, so if you want to get into a free build battle and want your build showcased in a video, check out the Discord down below. And on to the video. Hello, Papoki here, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 build video. Now, I have already made a video on Sealed Ahamkara Grasps, but that was not really a build, that was more of a showcase of its changes, but between when that video released and now, Bungie put out a patch that changed how the exotic works yet again. But that change has made it way more powerful and a little bit simpler to understand. And we actually have a build for it this time. So getting into it, I'm going to get to Sealed Ahamkara Grasps last because they are so complicated that it needs its whole section to itself. So for our armor mods, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to want 2 siphons, one for your primary and one for your secondary. One heavy-handed because orbs are rare and we are focusing on melees. 2 focusing strikes so we can get the 17% class ability regen on a melee hit. I am running rainbow resist, but you can run whatever you want. On our boots, I am running a Void Scav because that is my special and my heavy, a stacks on stacks mod, so I only need 2 orbs of power to proc special finisher, and I have recuperation because this is the only way hunters can heal. On our class item, I have special finisher because, of course, why wouldn't I have it? And proximity ward, this is very important. This makes you immune to all damage while you are going into, inside, and out of a finisher, with a little bit of a grace period, but this is very important. It keeps you alive all the time. Reaper, it does absolutely nothing because Ascension is bugged with it, but what else are you going to put here? Nothing else works with it anyways. So going into the weapons, this is actually very important. Sealed Ahamkara Grasps is a weapon-based exotic. Pretty cool. Bad Juju. Bad Juju. The answer is Bad Juju. I feel like Bungie intended these two to work together, kind of like a Thorn, Osteo, Necrotic Grip situation, if you catch my drift. So both of these are Ahamkara exotics, and they work very well together. So Bad Juju is going to ramp up to a 100% refreshable damage bonus. That's right, 100% damage bonus that refreshes on any kill or kill with the weapon, and it lasts for 7.5 seconds. You probably think, oh my god, it has hipfire grip, that's horrible. No, hipfire grip is awesome. Hipfire grip is wonderful. We want hipfire grip. It makes it where you can use the weapon in close quarters, and it's very, very, very easy to use. It also explodes with cursed thrall explosions that deal like a kajillion damage, which is awesome. And because of that, it gives you hella transcendent energy, and it gives you tons of super energy because of it's an exotic primary, and Bad Juju gives you 2% of your super on kill. But the biggest thing is it refreshes the magazine when you get a kill. That pairs perfectly with Sealed Ahamkara Grasps. We'll get into that. But if you don't have Bad Juju, or you don't want to use it, or you just want another option, Huckleberry also does kind of the same thing. Refreshes on kill, has Rampage, but it only stacks up to like 70, or no, it's like 40 to 70% increased damage. It's fantastic. It's great, right? But the ease of use of Bad Juju kind of takes over, especially with the AoE attack. Now, for your special weapon, Well, this can be a special weapon too, but bad juju, just use it. Just use it. Just please use it. I'm using a special sidearm. You can use whatever you want. Afterlight is a fantastic option. Glaives are a very fantastic option. And for your heavy, you can run whatever you want, but I am personally running Retrofit Escapade because it is very easy to use and works well with showing off how the exotic works. Now, the actual subclass, this is a simple setup, same as Gifted. Use any super you want. I am using Silk Strike, Gambler's Dodge to get our Threaded Spike back, and Threaded Spike is very important. You cannot replace this for anything else. This is the highest per tick damage melee hunter has. This is very good for getting actual melee kills up into harder content and even in Grandmasters. And when you're in Transcendence, you get unlimited of these, which is going to be very important very soon. Grapple is the only grenade on Prismatic Hunter, be real. Stylish Executioner for the free invisibility, because come on, you want this. Ascension, which if you know how this works, or not, I'm just going to explain it right now. When you use your class ability, you're going to get amplified. It's going to send you up into the air and jolt enemies, which stuns overloads. Because you are amplified, it's going to give you 50 mobility, so you can drop your mobility down to 50, so you have 100 at all times. This stacks with Facet of Hope, which means you're going to get your dodge back within 15 seconds, and 15 seconds is the amount of amplification timer it gives you. So you have amplified 24/7 with Ascension. Very good. Gives you back your Threaded Spike. Fantastic. For our actual fragments, we are going to be running Facet of Protection. This is just a free flat DR for whenever we're near enemies, which we are always going to be near enemies. And when we are Transcendent, that DR is going to be even higher. I forget the numbers. I'll put them up on screen. Next up is Facet of Dawn. Radiant stacks with Young Ahamkara Spine for a 20% onto 35%. Fantastic, wonderful. When you are shooting Golden Gun, you need this, so you have to have it, kinda. Facet of Hope, so we can use this with amplification to get Ascension, so we get a Threaded Spike every 15 seconds when we need it. Facet of Purpose, this is free sustain. Whatever super you're running, aside from Storm's Edge, Teehee, you get free sustain. It's just, you want this. Next up, you can change this slot to whatever you want, but I'm running Facet of Grace because it is very, very good with this build. This gives you 2% Transcendent Energy for light and dark whenever you get a kill with a kinetic weapon. Because our kinetic weapon gets a ton of multi-kills, that is going to rack up really quickly and give us tons of Transcendence, which we want to be Transcendent because Transcendent gives infinite Threaded Spikes and you need melee kills to proc Sealed Ahamkara Grasps. Okay. On to explaining how Sealed Ahamkara Grasps actually works. Okay, so this exotic is so complicated, I have actually made a flowchart to try to get it to wrap around in y'all's heads. It's a little complicated, alright, but I assure you, if you take the time to learn the exotic, you're going to love it. It's fantastic, alright? Just trust me. When you get a melee or finisher kill, you're going to get a buff on the side of your screen that says Nightmare Fuel. Anytime that buff is on your screen, you have a 35% damage buff for the weapon in your hand. This stacks with everything. It stacks with Radiant, it stacks with gun perks, it stacks with Well, it stacks with debuffs, it stacks with everything, alright? Does not overwrite, it stacks, which is insane, alright? So when you get that initial kill, you get 7 seconds of that damage buff for the weapon currently in your hand. Now, because this is the initial kill, you do not need a second kill. Anytime you swap your weapon after the melee or finisher, it will refresh the buff. But you don't have to get a kill. Okay? You understand that? If you get a melee or a finisher kill, you don't need to get a kill with your weapon in order to refresh the buff. You just need to swap to a different weapon. You got that? Alright, let's continue. Let's say you swapped your weapon, alright? The buff timer is going to go back up to 7 seconds. But it is now going to have a grace period of 7 seconds. It's still the same buff, you still have the damage bonus, but until you get a kill, the buff is going to go down. So let's say you swap your weapon, you have a 7-second buff, and there's no enemies nearby. The buff is now at 3 seconds. And you're like, dang, it's gonna run out. I'm gonna have to get another melee kill. Nope. If you get a singular kill it is going to refresh the timer again up to 7 seconds. But now that you got a kill, you can swap your weapon to refresh the buff again. It is so wishy-washy that the only way you're truly going to understand it is through gameplay. So let's get into the gameplay. So to start off the function of the exotic, we need to get either a melee or a finisher kill. So we just missed. So I'll just get a finisher then. So we get a finisher, boom. We have 7 seconds of Nightmare Fuel. Now because that is the initial counter for Nightmare Fuel, we can refresh it just by swapping our weapons. We do not need to get a weapon kill. But because we are now into the real buff territory, bam. That grace period kicked in, back up to 7 seconds on just a single kill. Now we can swap, back up to 7 seconds. So in 2 enemies, I had that much time. So the whole point is to find the weapon you want to use with it, and then make sure that you can use that weapon as much as possible. Because they added this grace period time, it allows you to legitimately play a almost no swap ever kind of play style. Because we can get a melee kill or a finisher and it will increase it further. So keeping up the actual timer is a lot more friendly, a lot more ease of use, a lot more fun. You know, you don't have to worry about it as much. And because you have such a high damage buff on your weapons, you can kind of just like bot walk and just hold down mouse 1. Now I'm going to show off Transcendence here. So the way Threaded Spike works in Transcendence is that as long as it hits an enemy and you catch it, you get it back. So because Sealed Ahamkara gives you the damage buff for 7 seconds when you get a melee kill, what we're going to do is we're going to pop Transcendence, stay on the weapon you want the Sealed Ahamkara buff, and then spam melees while you're ad clearing with that weapon. So we're just going to use this Transcendence, we're going to get some melee kills. See, I have the Nightmare buff, and now I already have my Thread Spike back, so we can just go, get kills, get a melee kill when we feel like it. Keep that buff up the entire time. Oh my, so get a melee kill, you have the damage buff. I need to extend it, so I'll just swap my weapon over. I guess I'll show the grace period off one more time. So since I just swapped, I have that 7 seconds. Now if I wait till the last second, I get a kill. Now I have 7 seconds. So you can legitimately sit inside Nightmare Fuel for like 14 seconds and just vibe. It is a lot more of a casual exotic than it used to be, which is really nice because as you see on like larger targets that take a while to kill, it's just really good. So you see, if I switch, right, I have 6 seconds. That's all damage buff time. I'm doing that. Boom. Now I have 6 seconds again. So the grace period is not removing the extra damage and then giving it to you when you refresh. You have it the entire time. So the patch between the last video and now has made this exotic way more easy to use. You can keep it up infinitely all the time. And I don't want to swap my weapons, so I'll just get a melee kill here instead. Still have the damage buff. Now because I got a melee kill, I can switch to my heavy and get the buff. Now I have the 35%, but I also have, you know, target lock proccing. I have Radiant on at the same time. That's the thing I really like about this. Certain heavy weapons that don't have things like bait and switch, which is a 30% damage increase, you can basically give it bait and switch. So, you know, Retrofit Escapade doesn't have bait and switch, it has target lock, but I can have a 35% buff on it and target lock at the same time, which is like really cool. Now, of course, if you're actually doing real damage, you're gonna swap to Celestial, so don't worry about this in like a damage scenario. But in like roam content, when it comes to champions, it's really good. And the buff is a lot easier to keep up nowadays. Way less reliance on finishers. It's really strong. So that's it. Yeah, that's the video. The changes they made to seal the Ahamkara grasps are absolutely wonderful. The initial change made them good, but the post changes made them so much greater. The grace period is ridiculous, and having the damage buff at all times so you don't have to question whether you have it or not is great. I will also note for any of my glaive lovers, the 35% damage buff from Seal the Ahamkara grasps affects glaive melee attacks, and glaive melee kills refresh the timer. So if you want to use a glaive build without using Synthoceps or Triton Vice, Seal the Ahamkara grasp buffs glaives. So if you want that, you can do that. So yeah, this is just a short video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give this exotic a shot. I know a lot of people aren't giving it a shot because it seems complicated, and it is. But once you get used to it, it is insane. Just One for All is like the strongest weapon perk in Destiny. Shoot 3 enemies, you get 10 seconds of 35% increased damage. Seal the Ahamkara grasp is like, okay, what if you want One for All on every single weapon? You want One for All on your sword, you know, with bait and switch? Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, Choir of One, does it need One for All and destabilizing rounds at the same time? No, that would be overpowered. Well, guess what? You can do that with this exotic. So yeah, that's all I'm saying. All right, subscribe, have a wonderful day, and that's it. Goodbye.